Section 1.5 is going to be our last section in Unit 1, and 1.5 is going to be about LCM. Okay, so similar to GCF, LCM are three letters that stand for something. So the L stands for least. The C, again, stands for common. And the M stands for multiple. Ooh, there we go. So least common multiple is similar to trying to find the GCF with a tiny little trick involved. So let's take a look at how we find the LCM, or the least common multiple. So let's grab a pen here. So let's, again, if you remember from our last section, there's sort of two chunks that I want to talk about that I'll assign work to. It's this chunk and then the other chunk here. This first section, it says, again, to make a list of multiples. I don't like that. So we're not going to use a list of multiples. We're going to use prime factorization again, since that's something we've been working on a lot. So let's jump to, let's do number 23 together. So if we have the numbers 7 and 12, first what we're going to do to find the LCM is we're going to do the prime factorization of those two numbers again, okay? So if we have the number 7, the only prime factors are 1 and 7, okay? Because it's a prime number. So those are our prime factors. And then for number 12, right, I'm just getting the 12 from over here, so I'm just adding it. So the 12, hopefully you start moving a little bit faster with this as you get more practice. 3 times 4, and then the 4 is 2 and 2. So there our prime factors are 3, 2, and 2, okay? So prime factors are circled there, prime factors are circled there. So now what we're going to do is, again, similar to the GCF, we're going to start lining these up. When we line these up, it's extremely important to line them up in a specific way here. So I'm going to take my number 7, and I'm going to write down the prime factors, 1 and 7. And then for the 12 here, I'm going to do the same thing, the 12. So when I have a prime factor that matches the prime factors from my 7, I'm going to put them on top of each other. But because the 3 here is not located as a prime factor for the 7, I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to put it right here. I don't want to put it under the 7 because I only want to put numbers on top of each other that match. So I'm not going to put the 3 there. I want to put it in its own column. Okay, imagine this is sort of like a column, and I want those numbers to be the same. Okay, so I can get rid of these lines. So now I'm going to put the 2 in its own spot here, since there's no 2 above. And then I'm going to put the other 2 right here. Okay. Now we have these areas, or again, you can think of them as columns, right? And so here's a column, a column, a column, a column, a column. And so the reason I did that is because what I want to do is from these columns, I'm going to bring down just going to bring down the number that is in that column. And I'm only going to write it once. So there's a 1, there's a 7, there's a 3, there's a 2, and there's a 2. And we'll do another example where the numbers are on top of each other. But once you have these, then if you can imagine, we're going to multiply these again. Okay? And so we have these that we're going to multiply. So 1 times 7 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. 21 times 2 is 42. And 42 times 2 is 84. So all I did was I just went through here and multiplied, and I get 84. Okay, and so 84, this would be my LCM. So it's the least common multiple. Okay, the least common multiple. And so now let's come up with an example. Let's do an example where we actually have some numbers on top of these columns here that I made. Okay. So let's use the example, and this is just a second example. Let's take the numbers 12 and 18 and find the LCM of 12 and 18. Okay. So if we have 12 and 18, the first, again, we do the factor trees. Just do this kind of quick. Hopefully you can do this fast as well. Okay, so now these are my prime factors for 12 and 18, the ones that I've circled. So now let's write these numbers again, 12 with a colon and 18 with a colon. So now pay attention to how these are written, okay? So the prime factors for 12 are 2, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, for the 18 over here, let's start with the 2. And now we're going to put that right beneath that 2 since these numbers are matching. Okay. And then now we have a 3. So that 3 is going to go right there since that 3 above it matches. And now we have this last 3. Now since there is no other 3 as a factor in the 12s, in the factors for the 12, we're going to put it in its own column over here. Okay, so really make sure you understand why I did that. Essentially, you're putting the numbers below the matching numbers until there aren't any more left. Okay. So now again we have these little columns, if you will. My eyes see it better when I do that. And now I'm going to just take one of the numbers from each column. So just the 2 there, just one of them. The 2 there, write down the 3, and write down the 3. And then I multiply these. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4 equals 36. So this is my LCM of 12 and 18. Okay. So this is the least common multiple of 12 and 18 from above, right? We started off with these two numbers. Okay, so the least common multiple of 12 and 18 is 36. All right, I know this was kind of a long video, but hopefully that was clear. That was section 1.5, finding the LCM, which is the least common multiple.